Good morning, students. Today we will discuss the remaining section of Sir Philip Sidney's Classicism's Advocacy of Classic Meters or Classical Meters. After the respect for rules, we are discussing advocacy of classical meters. Through this advocacy of classical meters, Sir Philip Sidney very well highlights his views on classical writing. According to Sir Philip Sidney, classicism is such a thing which can't come by using the rhyme, rhythm, meter, or rhyming and versing. And he further says that the rhyming and versing or rhyme, rhythm, verse, meter, prosody or the use of ornaments or the figure of speech can't make the poetry or can't give the poetry the identity of classical one. So, he says, being a Renaissance poet, Elizabethan representative, he has a lot of love towards rhyming and versing or the use of such ornaments. But when we think about the classicism, the standard of writing of his time, he become very much serious because he want to raise the standard of the poetry of his time, and he decides and wants to make the poetry of his time the poetry like the time of ancient Greek, Roman, Italian writers, and their poetry is the classical one. So, he is haunted to make the poetry or the literature of his time the classical one. That his intention is. So, he is not against the Renaissance poets, but he is against the pattern of the writing that they choose for the poetry, that he against with that. So, my dear students, Sir Philip Sidney, being a Renaissance and Englishman, very well request the poets of his time to use the classical norms. And he further says that he is very well moved, enchanted, deeply attracted by the song of the old English ballad named Ceviches by Percy and Douglas. And he is also very well moved and have never read the tragedy like Garboduck, though it is faulty with unity of time and place. Because Garboduck, the first written tragedy, and the ballad Ceviches, he moved it very well by or whenever he heard it. It means that the ballad Ceviches is written by these writers without the use of rhyme and verse, meter and verse, and so on. So, though these ornaments make the poetry beautiful, but that is not the only essential need of poetry. Beside that, there must be a unique representation that the people have never heard and seen and read, because the concern of Sir Philip Sidney about the classical poetry is that he says the poets of his time that poetry means nothing but the invention of new things. Poetry means poetry is the art of invention. नवीन्य किंवा नाविन्य शोधण्याची कला म्हणजे कविता आहे. मीन्स इज द आर्ट ऑफ इन्व्हेंटिंग न्यू थिंग्स बेटर दॅन दिस वर्ल्ड हॅज टू ऑफर. ह्या जगाला आपण जे काही नवीन देऊ शकतो मीन नाविन्याचा शोध हे नाविन्य जगापुढे सादर करणे मीन्स बेटर दॅन दिस वर्ल्ड टू ऑफर. अँड इवन the duty of the other prose writers also will be or must be the same. So, poetry means new art, new invention, new offer to the world. नवीन्य आहे, शोध आहे, नवीन कला आहे जे की लोकांना नाविन्याचा भाव दिला पाहिजे. So, but the poets of his time invention instead of making new invention and giving new things to the world which has not known, not seen, not heard, but they are repeating the same cycle one after another. And the poetry for the people, for the world of that time is nothing, instead wasting time. So he requests the people of his time just follow the classical writers, go through the Chevy-Chase ballad, go through the Gorboduc structure or the structure of the plot of the Gorboduc. You will find the ideal norms of writing poetry through Chevy-Chase or writing tragedy through Gorboduc. These are the well-known unique classical text. So, he agrees and admits that, means he concedes that verse is superior form of expression to ordinary prose. So, compared to the prose, verse is a superior form and verse we will find in poetry as well in the tragedy also. So, compared to the prose, poetry is superior form, so it has the status of superiority, so it needs or requires the high type of or higher intellect, higher invention, higher dedication to offer the world. So, after that Sir Philip Sidney further says that the Senate of poets, he says, hath chosen verse as their fittest raiment. Raiment means cloth. So, poetry is the fittest form of expression because according to him it is also known as superior. So, he says the senates of poets So, he says the senate of poets in the court, senate of poets hath chosen means has chosen poetry as their fittest rampart, as their fittest rampart means the cloth or pattern. So, poetry is superior, so that poetry needs much efforts. And so, the poet, Englishman, Elizabethan, Sir Philip Sidney says further that as in matter that we simply say being the superior form of poetry as the superior form than the prose, it is the fittest one. And the same time they says as in matter they passed all in all, so in matter to go beyond they means in the poetry it is passed in all. So he further says that each syllable of each word of the poetry is must be or it must be in proportion according to the dignity of the subject. So it means that poetry being a superior form, the Senate of Poets has chosen it as the fittest rampant. So they says that whenever the poets speak, means speaking words as they chanceably fall from the mouth, but praying means it must have weight, each syllable of each word just means whenever we write the poetry, there each syllable of each word must be in proportion, means in balance. It must have a perfect width, perfect structure, perfect balance, and as per the dignity of the subject, because each poetry has the different and different theme or subject. So as per the dignity of the subject, the poets have to choose the words which they speak in the poetry, as to keep in mind the balance of each and every syllable of the words in proportion. असलं पाहिजे. Then it positively defended for its sweetness and orderliness, because poetry, he further says, poetry has sweetness and also the orderliness. Poetry has the sweetness and orderliness according to Sir Philip Sidney, and being best for memory, the only handle of knowledge, it must be in jest that any can speak against it. And finally the sects, means scales, are held even between the unrhymed classical meters and the rhymed English, because English writing is the rhyme and the ancient Greek writers is the unrhymed. So the poet simply say, being the poetry has the sweetness and orderliness, being best for memory, means it is according to him it best for memory, means if you go through it, if you liked it, its sweetness, its orderliness, its proportion, its balance, then we simply say best for memory, the only handle of knowledge. Best for memory, only handle of knowledge. It's a handle of knowledge, means how it handles knowledge through its memory and through its sweetness and orderliness. It must be just that any man can speak against it. Finally, the scales are held even between the unrhymed classical and rhymed English, because when we go through it in detail, then question stands. Question stands. In between, we have to choose unrhymed classical or rhymed English. One has to choose. Here, Sir Philip Sidney say, because poetry being sweetness and orderliness and being the best for knowledge, and which is the best handle for knowledge, best for memory, then one can speak and one has a right to choose that, choose unrhymed classical or choose the rhymed English. So Sidney is caught in dilemma, and he is of the opinion that almost all the poets of his time have chosen the rhymed English, means rhyming and versing, meter and use of full of ornaments is the fashion of Renaissance poets. So, but Sidney is haunted for classicism, so he is preference for unrhymed classical. and that is the best according to him. So, here he says no doubt. According to him, no doubt the unrhymed classical is best than the rhymed English. But most of the poets of his time are only using this rhyming and versing. So, he requests them just to change the pattern. According to him, unrhymed classical, according to Sir Philip Sidney, is no doubt meters, no doubt more fit for music, more fit, it is more fit for music. Which one? Unrhymed classical meters, no doubt more fit for music and more fit lively to express, and more fit lively to more fit lively to express diverse passions. Diverse passions. So, unrhymed classical meter no doubt more fit for music and more fit lively to express, means lively to express diverse passions, means diverse aspect also very well expressed by the unrhymed classical meter, and which is more fit for music and more fit for lively to express diverse passions. So, it is the ideal mode than the rhymed English. And he further talk about the rhymed English, and he says the rhymed English with his rhyme, with its rhyme, means the rhymed English. He talks about the second one after the first. The rhymed English, according to Sir Philip Sidney, with its rhyme, strike a certain music, strikes a certain music, means only it makes a certain type of music, nothing else than that to the ear. एक प्रकारचं फक्त आवाज कानाला देतं किंवा संगीत देतं एका प्रकार टू द ear, and in fine, means which is fine, not like the fit for music and more fit lively to express diverse passions. It is just makes one type of music, and in fine it doth delight through by another way. It doth delight through another way, it obtains the same purpose. Through another way and obtains the same purpose. So, just you have two sides, you have two types of poetries in front of you. One is unrhymed classical, one is the rhymed English. Rhymed English only makes one type of certain music, and it makes fit for music. So, there is a lot of difference between the two, and unrhymed classical meter is the good one. So, after this, by these steps means by this comparison between the two rhymed and unrhymed, Sir Philip Sidney's more emphasis is on the rhymed English, unrhymed classical meters than the rhymed English. So, finally, he says by these steps of comparison, by these steps, Sir Philip Sidney's love, Sir Philip Sidney's love for love of the classics, love of the classics is ultimately reconciled reconcile. Reconcile means restore friendly. Restore means निर्माण करने परत restore friendly reputation into the gathering or into the people at the time. So, Sir Philip Sidney's love of the classics is ultimately reconciled to his love of the native tradition. So, dear friends, through this respect for rules and advocacy of classical meters, Sidney expresses his views on classicism very deeply, very detailedly. So, finally, we come to know that the unrhymed classical meters is the perfect method for the classical poetry than the rhyme English full with rhyming, versing, use of meter, use of verse. So, with this brief information, I will stop here. In the next class, if we get time, we will discuss the same in detail. Thank you very much.